What's up, guys? It's Lance. I have already fucked up the intro. What's up, guys? It's Lance. Today I have a RE4 video. It's actually a tier list. It's a enemy tier list. I hope wherever you are and whenever time you are watching this, you are having a fantastic day. And I will go ahead and get into this. So this is a RE4, like I said, enemy tier list, and I will be basically tiering the enemies based on how dangerous they are. And as you can see, I already named these. I was originally going to go with the letters or whatever. I just thought that was boring, so I'll give a rundown real quick. And just so you know, this is the fourth attempt of having to do this because of technical issues or whatever. It's a little bit weird, but okay. So for the first tier, we got You're Fucked. These are the enemies or bosses that you want to stay away from, which obviously some bosses you can't. You have to kill them, to progress. So this tier are these enemies right here, no joke. The second tier is the You're Still Somewhat Fucked category, which is these are enemies you definitely want to stay away from as well, but they're not as much as of a threat. This is the You're Annoying category. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. Just annoying enemies that get in the way for the most part. This tier right here, the fourth one is the You're a Slight Pushover tier. These enemies, like I said, I mean, they're still a little bit of a step down from this, obviously, but I mean, they can still, depending how it goes, I mean, they can't be a pushover. I mean, RE4 is a pretty RNG based game, and like anything could happen. And then we got the last tier, which there will only be one enemy in this tier, actually, spoiler, and it's You're a Scrub tier. So there's that. There's a few other things I want to say before I actually start it. I will be trying to look through the lens of a experienced RE4 player, such as myself, and also somebody who is a little bit less experienced at the game too. So I got to take those two into consideration as I'm making this. Like I said, the first video I already made, but the recording just fucked up or whatever, so now I have to redo this, which is no big deal. We can get through it. I do have evilsource.com placed up here on the I mean, honestly, at this point, I don't need this. I do have my notes here because I already have an idea where I'm going to be putting the enemy and bosses in, but it might change. It didn't change my first recording. So, but like I said, I might change it. Who knows? So let's go ahead and skip the foreplay here and just get straight into it. Actually, there's one more thing. Originally, I was going to start from this tier and just work my way down, but that would just be boring. So I put everything in order here and what I want to do ahead of time. That's what evilsource.com, and it's going to make it easier. So for the first enemy is the villagers, and I already know where they go. They go into this category. Or tier. I need to stop saying category. It's a tier, not a category. I mean, same thing. Tomato, tomato. So yeah, the villagers, they're really not that big of a deal compared to the castle Ganados and the island Ganados. Except there are three specific areas in village that can be a bitch. The first one is pretty obvious. It's the very first village section of the game. As you know, you're in a cabin or in village, the main village area, you have to survive. But it's really not that bad. Like, you could wait it out. It is a time segment. And like I said, I mean, the villagers are just idiots, really, for the most part. The second situation I can think of where they're more of a threat is cabin. As you have to survive that with Luis. But then again, actually, that part's not timed. You have to kill a certain amount of enemies in that, but that part really isn't that bad. Even with the parasites, like, which we'll talk about more later. And the third section is actually going to be the left path right after cabin, which we will talk about more later. So there's that. That's where I'm placing the villagers. Now we got good old Dr. Salvador, and you might be a little bit surprised by this one, but I am putting him in the you're still somewhat fucked category because he is indeed a instant kill attack. And also you do have to fight him throughout the game. It's not just a village exclusively. He does appear in the castle segment. So there's that. You definitely got to keep your distance from him. And here is our first actual boss fight, and I'm just looking here where I placed him at. So I actually put him in the you're annoying category. Now, Del Lago or Fish Boy, whatever you want to call him, isn't really that bad if you're cautious and you dodge the logs. And also, I think because I play on professional most of the time, he only takes about 12 harpoons. And he's not really that hard to dodge, to be honest. Like, if you're anticipating it. Now, on a first playthrough, you might die once or twice. I mean, I'm sure back in the day, I probably did. I don't even remember how far I got when I initially played this game for the first time, but I am putting Del Lago in You're Annoying. I mean, if this was actually me talking, I'd be putting him here. He's a scrub because I already know how Del Lago works, but because, like I said, I'm trying to look through the other side of the coin, which is basically the inexperienced player who hasn't had as many hours into the game as I have. So I am putting Del Lago into the third category or tier here. So let's go ahead and move on to the parasites. This is the A variant of the parasite, the first one you see in Village. And this one, I actually put in Your Slight Pushover. Some people might be a little bit surprised by that. And the reason for that is really if you have the rifle in Village and you have flash grenades, I mean, they're pretty easy to dispose of. I mean, you can even say the same thing about these ones, but I'll get to these ones later after I get done talking about this one. This one really becomes a threat, I would say, in there's two areas. There's cabin and then there's war room because they spawn quite a bit in war room based on RNG. Though you could say the same thing about cabin. And you can't get sunlock and die. You know what? Yeah, you know what? We're going to change this. We're going to go ahead and just put them in You're Annoying. Originally, they were in this tier. But yeah, they can be annoying. They do some damage for sure. So there's that. I changed that. Like I said, I might improvise. We'll see. I already have an idea. All right, so now we got the B variant of the parasite, and that one, it goes surprisingly. Actually, no, this is where I put it last time. Originally, I put it here, but I put it here. So the reason for that is because this parasite is a instant kill, but if you keep a little bit of your distance from him or from it, I'm not trying to like recognize its gender. I don't know what the fuck it is. You can either one shot it with a rifle or flash it. So that's where I'm putting that. And now we're going to be moving on to the third variant, the C variant. which I believe goes in this category, which is you're annoying. And the reason for that is because not only do you have to kill it once, you have to kill it twice. And it has, I know when it is attached to the host, I want to say it has two attacks. It has the, like, it spits acid out at you attack, and then it has like a close range attack. Though on its own, like after you kill it off the host, I think it just grabs you and you have to shake it off. Which I don't know how much damage that does, but either way, it's a fucking annoying. So there's that. All right, so now on to Elegante. I am putting Elegante into the you're still somewhat fucked category because, like I said, I don't know if I said it. Like I said, this is my fourth attempt on trying to make this video. None of these enemies or bosses are going to be getting killed with a rocket launcher or anything like that. So Elegante, the reason why I put him into the you're still somewhat fucked category is because just a small arena that you have to fight in. And if you don't rescue the dog, it makes it way more difficult. It just takes longer. But the majority of people will probably rescue the dog. I mean, who wouldn't? But yeah, Elegante is no joke. He has quite a bit of attacks. He has like a ram attack. He can grab you. He has a slam attack, and then he can grab this tree log to try to hit you with those. So quite a bit of attacks that do damage. And then also your health isn't really going to be too much upgraded by that point, maybe a few times prior to the fight. So that's why he is in this category. I actually feel like I explained that a little bit better this time around, so I'm proud of myself for that. So let's go ahead and move on to the dogs. The dogs are going into the you're annoying category. They only appear twice in Village. There is the part like right before the church, like they're actually outside the church. And then if you do a little bit of backtracking in Village, which I did not know for the longest time, they actually do appear. But the reason why they are in the you're annoying category is because that fucking tentacle attack that they do, it does quite a bit of damage. And these enemies are actually not really dumb. They can be smart. They can actually dodge your shit. Like they can dodge your gunfire. They're fast also. There's a little exploit actually with these enemies. You can camera manipulate them, but if you're, like I said, we are excluding exploits, RPG and all that. So yeah, I'm putting them into the you're annoying category. That's where they belong. Okay, so now let's move on to the Bella Sisters. This is the first official you're fucked sub-boss fight, I guess you want to call it. And the reason for that is because if you take the left path after Cabin, not only do you have to fight through villagers until you get up top into like the walkway, you got to drop down, and as soon as you drop down, they do spawn, and you got to react pretty quickly in that situation. And even after they spawn in, you still have to kill more villagers that spawn in, and you have to fight two of these at the same time, as opposed to Dr. Salvador, which usually you can fight one at a time, if I remember correctly, throughout the game. This is not the case with these. These motherfuckers right here, these Bella Sisters, are no joke. Even in the remake, which I will not be talking about the remake because this is not a remake video. This is a RE4 vanilla or OG tier list. But yes, they do definitely belong in this category. Let's go ahead and move on. Oh, it's actually the big cheese, Mendez, and I put him in the "you're still somewhat fucked" category. So the first part of Mendez is pretty slow. There is an exploit where you can use 3 fire grenades and it kills them. But like I said, no exploits here, no RPGs, nothing like that. You're fighting him with whatever inventory, whatever ammunition, whatever weapons you have upgraded. If you do decide to upgrade in Village, which I don't recommend. His first phase isn't really too bad. He's pretty slow for the most part. But that all changes as soon as those legs disappear. I know there is a way, there's like a good strat where you can climb the ladder and kind of like manipulate them a little bit. I personally haven't really tried that, but you can do that. But his his attacks with those tentacles, the amount of damage that they do are no joke, for sure. So that is where I'm placing Mendez, the big cheese, the final boss of Village. And now we are moving on to Castle. And I put the Castle Ganados, and you're a slight pushover. They are a slight upgrade from the Village Ganados, as they do carry more weapons. People might slightly disagree with this because of Waterhall. And I explained this in my first attempt of this video that Waterhall really isn't all that bad if you camp down into the area with the plates on each side of the room, where you guys have Ashley on one side and you have Leon on the other side. If you camp that area, until you get to the cranks, it's actually not that bad because of how slow they are compared to the Island Ganados, which we will talk more about later. But that's where I think they belong. For an inexperienced player, they'd probably be in this category. But this is where I'm placing them. So let's go ahead and move on to the Garrador. All right, so I put the Garrador in the "you're still somewhat fucked" category. Now, the first Garrador that you encounter, because I believe there is a total of 3. The first one isn't really all that bad, but he does inflict quite a bit of damage. This is an enemy where you have to be patient. And as soon as you get to the infamous double Garrador room, which is difficult, considering it's just kind of like a hallway. And then like to the left, you had that like small corridor, which if you put yourself in that situation, like if you go over there, and also I forgot to mention there are actual enemies, the Castle Ganados you have to deal with beforehand before actually fighting these two. But there are bells that you can shoot to distract them a little bit. But either way, if you get stunlocked by these guys, too much, you get decapitated, and you're fucking dead. So there's that. Let's go ahead and move on to the next. We got the Armaduras, I believe they're called. The Knights, and I put them into. Oh yeah, I changed this actually. They are in the "you're fucked" category, and it's because of the specific room, and I'm not talking about the QTEs that they do. Those are pretty much easily dodgeable. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is probably the hardest room, in my opinion, in RE4, which is the King's Grail room, which they do appear. If you are underprepared for this room, you're pretty much fucked because you can instantly die. And because of how small it is, the room is, I want to say it's the smallest room in the fucking game. These guys are no fucking jokes, especially these ones right here. The ones in the back, they're still, because they spawned this parasite, But these ones spawn this parasite, which is the instant kill. And you gotta shoot off the helmets to expose, and then you have to throw a flash grenade down to dispose of them. That room is no fucking joke, and that's the reason they are in the you're fucked tier. So let's go ahead and move on to my least favorite enemy of the game, Novisadors, which means I believe no sighters in Spanish. I put them into the you're somewhat fucked category. You gotta encounter these bastards 3 times throughout Castle segment. The first one is sewers, which they are invisible, which is actually a little strange considering they're not invisible in the second and third section when you encounter them. But these motherfuckers can stun lock you quite a bit, take a lot of damage, and ultimately kill you if you're not careful enough. But the upside to them is if they're flying in the air and if you manage to shoot them, they are a instant kill. That only applies to the second and third section, however, not to the first section. The first section is where you have to fight them on ground in the sewers. Least favorite enemy in the game, they can fuck right off. That's how I feel about Novies. Let's go ahead and move on to Verdugo. Verdugo is going into the you're fucked category because, like I said, I know there's the RPG. Like, say, hypothetically, you pick up the RPG and you manage to hold on to it for a while, but like I said, there are no RPGs being used throughout this tier list. Verdugo is no fucking joke. There's a few attacks that he does. Like, there's the one, like the close range attack where he swipes at you. That takes a bit of health away. There is the QTE attack where he like jumps forward a little bit, like if you're trying to run away from him. There is the tail attack, which even if you do dodge that or you successfully hit the QTE, he can still hit you with it with this bullshit. And the worst of all is that he fucking taunts you with his finger. He does like a fucking finger swipe. But the upside to Verdugo, which is cool, is that the C2 canisters you can knock over to freeze them, which I believe increases the damage of the guns, and it kind of like stuns them a little bit. But still, he is no fucking joke. You can definitely die to him if you're not careful. So let's go ahead and move on to it's Salazar. He is also going into the you're fucked category because he has an instant kill attack that he does. He has tentacles, which he can throw you down into the pit, which enemies down there are these ones, the annoying ones. He also has another attack, which is like with the head. It's like a 3 pattern attack where he bashes like the ground or the platform that you're on, like up top. So yeah, Salazar, the final boss of Castle, is no fucking joke either. So that's what I have to say about him. Good old salad bar. Let's go ahead and move on. Island Ganados. So Island Ganados are going into the you're annoying category. They are the most aggressive Ganado in the game. That's why they're a step up from your slight pushover and your scrub Ganados here. They are very aggressive. They also have the stun prod, which is not what these guys have. Just trying to think if there is War Room, which is like the final like climax of like enemies, and the area before that with the turrets. But I still put them into the you're annoying category. Like I said, they are stronger than these two, but I'm gonna keep them there. Let's go ahead and move on to JJ, which is another Island Ganado. Well, he's more of a bigger. He's like I would consider him a sub boss. I put him in the "you're somewhat fucked" category because that minigun, I believe, can two shot you even at 100% health. Um, that is if you can't get it out of his line of sight. If you're in his line of sight, he will shoot you once and he can shoot you again straight after that. So he is aggressive for sure, and he does have like a close range attack where he knocks you back. I don't know if that how much damage that does. I would assume it does a significant amount. It's been a while, but I am putting JJ in this category tier here. Next, ooh, my favorite boss fight of the game, U3, or as known as It. Now, I was talking about this earlier. The very first time I encountered U3, I died in the containers. So what I did is because they spawn you back before, like, right where the merchant's at, I was like, you know what? I don't like the look of this guy, and I can already tell he's gonna be a fucking asshole. So I decided, because I had enough money at that time, I think I bought an RPG. And as soon as I like skipped the cutscene where like Leon finds a little transmitter thing and it spawns you into the boss, it's not really a boss fight. It's more of like a level. We'll talk more about that here in a second. I immediately shot this motherfucker just assuming he would die in the containers. That wasn't the case. So I wasted a rocket launcher. And what's intense about the container section is that he can drop down at any time and grab you or try to attack you, which does a lot of damage. And what adds to the intensity is that there's a timer on each container, which there are a total of 3 containers. So that part is actually very intense. Now, the actual boss fight, after all that foreplay is over with, when you get to the actual the nitty gritty of the boss fight, the first phase of U3 isn't really all that bad. He's kind of slow, I would say, for the most part, because you're basically fighting him until you get to the second part where he becomes aggressive, very aggressive. Basically, after you defeat the first part, like this big tentacle bladed mouth spawns from his back, which can barrage you with its bladed like cuts that it does, and you can actually get sunlock and die. Also, he does go underground, and you have to anticipate the QTEs. I don't know how much damage those do. Probably a lot. This boss overall does a shitload of damage. So there's that on U3. Also, the design of U3. I mean, look at this shit. I mean, it's just fucking great. So yeah, he deserves to be in this tier. Oh, Krauser, right after U3. He also goes into the "you're fucked" category. The very first time I played professional difficulty, and when I got to Krauser, because surprisingly I got that far, this was years ago when I was a kid. I died to Krauser probably a good 20 times. I might be exaggerating that a little bit. It wasn't until the arm section where he actually grows his arm is where I kept fucking dying over and over again because I didn't know how the boss fight worked. You're supposed to use the knife against Krauser throughout the encounter. Not just the arm segment, but like pretty much all of it. So I just unloaded, bullets into him, thinking he would die, which was not the case. Also, there is an attack that it's a QTE attack where even if you do hit the prompt, you don't dodge it and you get hit by it, which is bullshit. The same thing with fucking Verdugo. Krauser is no joke. And also, he is very aggressive. So that's where I believe Krauser belongs. He is awesome though. He is a pretty cool boss fight. Second, maybe second favorite, I would say. All right, now on to the Regenerator. And the Regenerator goes into the you're still somewhat fucked category. And for that, it's because, yes, they are slow, but the amount of damage they do is pretty fucking insane. Even if you like dismember them, I know if you like shoot off the leg. Well, I mean, I already know this because I exploited it in my most recent video. If you shoot off the leg, they do jump up to try to attack you. They can also lunge their arms to grab you and just nibble on you like you're a fucking Snicker bar, pretty much. So yeah. Now, also another thing I want to add, I think the very first time I saw these guys, I was like, fucking A, dude, what the fuck is this shit? I want to stay the fuck away from these things, especially the freezer room. After you grab the infrared scope in that small area, actually, you know what? That's probably the smallest area, not the one with the knights. Either way, these guys, I think, belong in this category. They are no fucking joke. But let's go ahead and move on to their cousin, which is the Iron Maiden. I am also putting them in this tier. You're still somewhat fucked because they're not exactly that much different other than the fact they can like extend spikes from their body, which I don't think is an instant kill. Correct me if I'm wrong on this attack. I know there's an attack that they can do where it's similar to the Regenerator, where they lunge their arms and they can like pull you in and like stab you with their spikes. I don't know if that's an instant kill. If that is an instant kill, they are definitely meant for this tier instead of this tier. But the only thing that's holding them back is they're sluggish, they're slow. If they were, I mean, they can sprint. I don't know if the Iron Maidens can, but the Regenerators can sprint, depending on RNG. I don't know what causes that. But you can bait their attacks pretty well if you're cautious and everything. So that's where I think they belong. Oh man, fucking Regenerators, dude. Probably one of the more iconic enemies in the game. All right, let's go ahead. Oh, we're actually almost done. I was about to call Sadler Salad Bar. I did that shit again in my fucking video I uploaded. Yeah, Sadler is in the You're Fuck category if you're excluding the Ada rocket launcher. He is extremely fucking aggressive. Upside to Salad. I was about to say Salad Bar again. Jesus, dude. I should have never said that shit in my video I made. Sadler, excuse me. Sadler. Fucking Sadler, final boss, whatever. I mean, the upside to him is if you shoot out all of his leg eyes, his mouth eye here, gets exposed, and if you shoot that, you basically stun him. And you can either opt to jump up and knife him, or you can shoot him in the eye with whatever gun that you have. But his attacks cause a shitload of fucking damage. So the ones I can think of, the top of my head, is that he can knock shit at you. He can jump on top of you. He can do a close range attack where he like bites you. He does a barrage attack where he just kind of like throws a temper tantrum. Also those blades in the back of his back, if you're too close to him, like standing behind him, you get stun locked, which is, that's fucking annoying. So that's my thoughts on Sadler. He is very aggressive and he's an awesome final boss. Very iconic for sure. And now on to kind of an oddball enemy. He doesn't exactly show up in the main campaign, but he is an enemy after all that is in the game. And it's pretty fucking obvious where I'm putting him at, which is you're fucked, because he shows up in Mercenaries. It's the fourth map, which I believe is called Waterworld. So Super Salvador is very fast, very aggressive, and if you're not paying attention, well, there goes your fucking mercenary run. So there's that. I honestly, I'm a little bit disappointed he doesn't actually show up in the main game. I think that'd be pretty cool. Maybe like my theory is like originally maybe they want to implement him into the main game, but just because of how fucking aggressive he is, maybe they just didn't have a spot to put him in. I don't know, but either way, yeah, he deserves to be here. So let's go ahead and just do a little bit of a rundown before I end the video. Bella Sisters, like I said, if it wasn't for that fucking section, the left path that you take after Cabin, these two are no joke. The hardest room in the game, in my opinion, a lot of people will say Waterhall. Fuck that. It's the King's Grail room, specifically because of the parasite they spawn, which is that, and also that, which can stun lock you. Verdugo, very aggressive. 1 QTE, like I said, even if you manage to dodge it, it can still hit you. I also forgot to mention that he takes like a lot of fucking damage, if I remember correctly. Like his hit points were like 10k or some shit like that. Salad Bar, Salazar, instant kills, the tentacles. The goal is to shoot the eye to expose him. And then, you know, hopefully you have Magnum ammo or something by that time. Or if you decide to use the RPG on him, if you didn't use it on Verdugo, which when I play the game, like casually, I usually use the RPG on Verdugo. But like I said, we're not talking about the RPG. My favorite boss here, U3, I already explained him. Creepy. The container section is awesome, which is a damn shame we don't get to see it in the remake. But that's how I feel about U3. Krauser, very aggressive. Like I said, I don't think he has any instant kill attacks either. Same goes for U3. Krauser is awesome. That's all I have to say about Krauser. Sadler, final boss, aggressive. Super Sally, Super Salvador. Yeah, he does only appear in the 4th mercenary map, but still, he's no fucking joke. Dr. Salvador. Yes, the only reason he's in this tier is because that instant kill chainsaw. Chainsaws are no fucking joke. Even though there's only like a handful of these guys that show throughout the game. If you had to fight multiple at the same fucking time, he'd be in this tier, but that isn't the case. These fuckers, the Parasite, the Variant B, instant kill if you're not cautious. Elegante, very aggressive, and plus your health isn't really that much upgraded. Like I said, it's only like upgraded a little bit by that time. Big Cheese, like I said, his first phase isn't that bad. Second phase, kind of almost like with U3, becomes more aggressive, a lot more damage. Garrador, the first Garrador, like I said, you can get unlucky if you're not paying attention and being patient, as you do have to hit his back. But it's that double Garrador room, and that's the reason why he is in the second tier here. Novistadors can suck every individual inch of my dick. They are my worst and least favorite, actually. I'm gonna say fucking worst enemy in the game. They can get fucked. JJ, that minigun is no fucking joke. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's a 2-shot kill. If you can't avoid his line of sight, Regenerator, creepiest enemy in the game, very memorable. That's all I had to say. Same thing about the Iron Maiden, which I want to say there's less Iron Maidens than there are Regenerators. Either way, these two are no joke. Del Lago, like I said, Del Lago really isn't that bad, man. Like, I know a lot of people, like beginners, will probably struggle with him, but if you can get it like his attack patterns down, like which is RNG based, he's really not all that bad. 12 harpoons and he's donezo. Now we got to the variant A parasite. Like I said, the only real threat is cabin, I think, for these ones, and war room. But like I said, these are really not all that bad in my opinion. Same goes with these ones. You can take care of them fairly quickly. We got the dogs. I already explained them. They're quick. They have the tentacle attack, which is no joke, but they're still annoying. Soldier Ganados, the most aggressive Ganado in the game. We got the Castle Ganados, which might I add, I would say, I know this is kind of like off topic, but I think they have the best look. Like the robes and the masks, just like how they fucking look out of all the Ganados. These guys look the best. I know that's a little off topic, but I just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, they're a slight pushover. They're an upgrade from the villagers, but like I said, I mean, with Waterhall is like the only place I can think of where they become a real threat. And even then, like I said, if you just can't bottom in that plate room, you're pretty much good to go. You're set. And then we got the last tier villagers. Like I said, there's just fucking throwaway enemies. They're not that big of a deal. Beginner enemies, starter enemies, whatever you want to call them. But I would say I'm pretty satisfied. I think this was almost identical to my first attempt of this video. It might even be a little bit longer. I'll have to look back at the footage after I get done here. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments. Let's see how you... I just want to see how you guys feel about this tier list. If you're really interested, I would be willing to do another Resident Evil tier list on a different game. I mean, there's Resident Evil 5, there's RE2 Remake, any other sort of game, maybe even Silent Hill, even though I'm not too familiar with those games. I am a little bit. But definitely hit me up in the comments if you want to see another tier list. I would be more than happy to do one. But that is it for me today. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, Lance is out here, and I will be uploading more content in the future, guys. So that is it.